Hey guys, thanks for joining us.
Hi there.
Hey.
Hey everyone, welcome to the 24th San Francisco Independent Film Festival 2022. I'm Jason Wallace, a programmer here at SF Indie Fest. Thanks for joining us. You probably just watched the funny and absurd film Lucky Doug, directed by Eric Allen Rousseau. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your names. And acting in it is Doug, Phoebe, and Nathaniel here with us on the Q&A. Is that correct? Did I get your names right?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. And where are you guys down in from?
Austin.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations, first of all, on getting your movie finished and getting in the film festival.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Really exciting.
And WTF, what the heck, man? That was absurd. Absurdly funny.
Good.
Yeah, some good laughs. I got some really big laughs out of that. I actually watched it with a couple friends, and I think we should have been stoned, but we weren't.
Yeah, you should have been. That's a good one to watch it. For sure.
And it does help that I am a cat lover and a cat daddy. So it was right when I heard it was about cats. When it got started, I was happy about that. So where the heck did this idea come from? What the heck? How did it come about? Who wants to answer that?
Go for it. Okay. Yeah. I mean, we were all kind of hungry to make something, and especially make something together. And I think that in Austin, there had been this slew of projects that were being made for pretty tight, low budgets and focus on, just story and characters and everything. And then I think I was inspired by that. I was working on a couple of films. Nathaniel directed one of the films that happened, Ultimate World. I was working on another movie, Moat Jeswell's Night on Sixth. And I think from that, it was just like, we all just want to make something. And I was listening to the radio one day and heard a story about a kid who was a millionaire influencer. And, I was just like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing with my life. And
This kid was like 14 or something.
something like that. Yeah. And so I all of a sudden this idea came about of like, ultimately a line that Tyler ends up using in the movie of, if you want to be rich, what happens if somebody just says like, you want to be rich, you just got to believe in it and it'll manifest. And from there, that was kind of the jumping off point, and kind of one by one got everybody into it. And everyone was like, yeah, let's do it.
And it somewhere along the line, it changed from the original idea was that it was about basically someone who had no right to become an influencer.
Right.
Not that no one has a right to be an influencer.
Right.
It's a waste, terrible. But like becomes an influencer, but that somehow turned into becoming a cat food entrepreneur. And I don't know how that happened, but cat food's funnier.
I think we started to fall in love with the idea of a spin on the classic door-to-door salesman. And so we were like, what could he be selling? We were coming up with this idea in 2019. What could he be selling at that time that's kind of like out there and weird and funny? And then all of a sudden we kind of latched on to cat food, and that ended up being cats, and cat food ended up being an entire theme for the entire movie.
Yeah, I mean, are there really any door-to-door salesmen anymore nowadays? I don't think so, but there are influencers, right?
Yeah.
Doug, you wrote this, right?
All four of us wrote it, so
Okay.
yeah.
Tell us about that process.
Yeah, I thought it was a really fun process. I mean, Eric kind of came to us with an idea of being a salesman and kind of trying to figure out a way to become a millionaire. And the writing process was fun. We met, I think, every week for like 6 months or so, and
In this room.
in this room, yeah. And just,
Is that a closet somewhere? That looks like you're in a closet. Where are you guys?
We are inside of a walk-in closet, yes.
Sure.
Large
We are.
A large closet. Yeah.
No, we converted into a studio, yeah.
No.
So
Yeah.
you guys would come and sit together, the four of you, and collaborate, write together.
yeah.
Exactly.
And
And
so
you're still friends, and you're still talking to each other.
We sure
I was waiting for a
are.
reason.
But what was the writing process like? I'm also a filmmaker, writer, and so are a lot of people watching this. So how did that work?
Yeah, so we just essentially got like our storyline out, built out. I think it was like a 10 page. We knew the beats and kind of thematic things that we wanted to hit. And then to kind of help build the script out, we got, you know, all the actors in the room and the people playing the roles, and we actually just improvised the scenes, found, you know, certain things within characters, and then Eric and Nathaniel were taking notes and writing down lines that we might want to include in the script, and we kind of built it out that way. So I think it was kind of a unique thing, or it was a ton of fun, and I think an interesting way to do the script.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, you know, once you got enough material, you actually brought in actors or yourselves. You guys are actors. You kind of read the lines or acted out the lines, and then wrote more, right?
Right. There was a lot of we had a bunch of improv rehearsals. So we would sort of give some of the actors like an outline or guide of what the scene is, what's going to happen in the scene. But the actual dialogue came a lot from the actors just doing improv, and then we would write that down, and that would become the script.
Yeah.
If it was
Yeah.
good.
So there were 4 writers, but then by the end there were kind of like 10 writers.
Yeah.
The main cast brought so much to each character very much became kind of owned by the actor.
Yeah, we're all credited as the writers on this, but we do give credit as additional dialogue for so many of the actors who were a part of the rehearsal. Zach DeSutter, Yamina Kwan, Hunter Duncan, Catherine Hutchins. So everyone was, you know, really participated in kind of building the story and the characters. And we got some great moments that found their way to the film just from doing improv rehearsals for Jesus.
Yeah.
3 months.
Yeah, several months.
Yeah, a couple of months. Yeah. And just some of us, we all kind of come from a live comedy background. I mean, Nathaniel and I went to film school, but we've also done live comedy. And so, you know, we were just integrating parts of like what we've done for live shows, and that's rehearsal and kind of getting comfortable with characters and ideas before it, you know, goes live, so to speak.
Right. How much fun was that? Right, first, not acting and making the movie together, writing together. I'm still in the writing part. How much fun was that, or did you guys have moments where it's like, was there any frustration?
Man, it was fun, but I would definitely say that there was quite a bit of reeling in that needed to happen in order for us to not just be hanging out eating, you know, Chinese food or something. We really had to focus in sometimes. So it was definitely fun. I think there was also times when we were like, okay, everybody don't make a joke for like the next few minutes and let's seriously do this thing.
Right.
But it was very it was an adventure because every time we would come together and write, something totally new would come out, you know, and the story would usually like go in a totally different direction, and then that direction would be sort of cemented, and we would take off from there at the next stop. So,
and because of our improv background, like ideas, we were always the yes and approach to ideas in the writing process, and we would follow each yes and down a path until if it reached an end point that we realized like, okay, that we would find like that's too far.
Yeah.
And I think Phoebe was the best balance because the movie kept getting sillier and sillier and sillier. And the sillier it got, Phoebe would say like, okay, if you're going to get this silly, you need to have this much more heart. Because at the center of this is this couple like working, it's Doug and Sophie working together. So like, how is that going to come through amidst this silliness? Otherwise no one's going to like, the silliness alone isn't going to carry this movie.
Yeah.
And I think that is truly what makes the movie work. Otherwise it would just be like,
That's true. It would go completely off the rails. I mean, there are moments where it's close. I don't know how you guys keep your, you know, composure. A couple times there had to be just hilarity. I mean, I couldn't tell. It didn't look like you guys were going to lose at any time, but there were times where it's just like, how are they? It was so believable too. At times I was like, are these people? You know, are they really that? You know, nuts? Are they? I couldn't.
we are.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And we did we may have not lost our composure, but we certainly lost a few costume pieces and apartment doors. You know, we did lose some things, but not our composure.
And you guys work so well together, at least on the screen it looked like it, and it seems like you're, you know, all friends here. How did you guys have a relationship before this?
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
that's how we came together to write this.
Got it. So you've all worked together before, so you know the bond's there, and so you work well together, and that allowed for collaboration.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Nathaniel and I met each other through a live sketch show at Fallout Theater here in Austin, Texas. Worked on that for almost a year together.
Yeah.
And then Doug and I got connected also through Fallout.
Fallout Theater, yeah.
And then I just kind of jumped aboard and just wanted to be part of whatever he was doing. So I started filming sketches, and Phoebe and I started writing together after becoming friends.
And Doug acted in my film
Yes.
that I co-directed, but he had a much smaller part. He's in like 2 scenes. But when Eric came with me saying like, I want to make a film starring Doug, I was like, yes, because Doug was so great in my movie but he's in it for only like a total of like maybe 5, so a couple minutes. With the chance to have a whole movie working with Doug, I was like, absolutely the best.
And really, I think Doug was a huge inspiration, like for this whole film, because he's in every scene, every minute of this film, pretty much, you know. And we were able to build off of so much of what you bring and what he brings to you know, the whole thing is built off of him, and so many of the wacky ideas and the wacky directions we went in really came from Doug, you know, and which is why, of course, his name is the title of the film, because if you meet him, and when you do in real life, you're such a special and unique person that it's like you just meet him and you're like, gotta do something with this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And you know, I mean, you know, comedy is risky. I mean, this movie isn't going to be for everybody, right? No movie is, but you know, I think it succeeds on the fact that you're making, you know, you go there, you give it your all, you know, you're absurd. And then you also, you know, like Nathaniel was saying, you reel it back in, and you guys reeled it back in with some kind of themes, which, you know, made me chuckle when you talked about the influencer, or, you know, get rich quick. If you dream, your dreams will come true. That kind of shit, right? It was kind of funny. Did you guys keep that in mind? These themes, you know, making this satire about these kind of concepts.
Definitely, I feel like. Sorry, I feel like I'm answering you.
No, you should.
I do feel like Sophie's character was like the theme holder, you know, like it was something would go totally crazy with Doug and Tyler and everybody else, and then we would sort of touch back in the movie with Sophie with the scene being like, okay, this is actually what that was just about, you know.
Yeah.
That way, that character really, I think, you know, kept those themes throughout the movie in a very.
Yeah, I see that now. You're right. I like it. You kind of were like the backbone, if you will.
Well, we had to have someone in there who was or else, you know, how would these be functioning adults, you know? But it's true. I mean, we really thought of that, right? Like in the writing process, we really did. We were like, oh my God, if this person is like hitting people with cars and doing this and that, like, how are they just even gonna have dinner, right? Like, how are they just gonna like live? And so that's sort of, I think, where I came in.
Yeah.
Like, and also,
but you also wrote a lot of jokes.
That's true. I am
you weren't
also,
just
yeah,
like the serious one. Yeah.
right. I know I'm very serious seeming.
Kind of true as in real life. It's the woman that kind of keeps it together for the men.
That was a motto on set.
Yeah, all the time you're like, girl power. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, there's so many fun little moments in here. Who is the cat? How come the cat's not there with you? That was one of the actors I wanted to talk to as
That's
well.
because the cat belonged to my ex-girlfriend.
Right.
So that's why.
It's a
But
nice guy.
yes.
Did you become an ex-girlfriend because of the movie, or I'm just curious because movies can do that.
Do you want to go into this for this interview?
Maybe not. What was the cat's name though?
The cat's name was Pudge, and Pudge was a terrific actor.
Pudge nailed it on like the 3rd take, I think. We threw him up and he walked right to the food can.
We tossed.
No, my ex was, which by the way, the breakup was amicable, just for the record, and it had nothing to do with the movie, but
it did have to do with
but it did have to do with no, it was just right off the screen, and then because cats are notorious, and the rule is when you're making a film, no cats, no kids,
no boats.
no boats. We did all 3, but the cat, 2 takes.
Yeah.
Like just the first
Yeah.
take, he went right for the food, but the camera was just on his butt. The second take, perfect, and then the
Wow.
cat went home. It was amazing.
Yeah, as a cat lover, I love that. Actually, if I do have a complaint about your film, there's not enough cats. There's only Pudge.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was something that we really talked about was, you know, how many animals are we actually going to have in here? And there was talk about having an entire sequence leading up to that moment where we do see Pudge jump up, that maybe we see like an entire city like, worth of cats like running all and they invade this boardroom. And ultimately we kind of, and I think Phoebe, this was probably you.
We had
Right.
big cat dreams, and we
Big-
really had to reel it
Well,
back.
and we kind of thought about the whole like and going back to I think live comedy, the like less is more, and just all of this kind of stuff. Just how can we make the most out of this? And we just thought we can do that, and we all know how that will play out. But at the same time, what if we just have this big moment, and it just falls on the shoulders of this one little cat? And Pudge held the weight.
Less is more.
Yeah, less is more.
Indeed. But you also, maybe brought in more with the animation too for that pitch where Pudge is in. I tell you, so I was watching this with a couple friends, and we were crying laughing so hard.
Good.
Yeah. So, but I mean, through that animation too, we just couldn't believe it. When did that idea come about to put the animation in? And there's where more cats are, but they're animated cats, if you will.
Well, we always knew we wanted them to do a pitch video.
Yeah.
And I wanted them to do like shoot it on like a high 8 camcorder and be like really poorly made, kind of like the Boats and Hose video and Step Brothers.
Yeah.
Like how I envisioned it. And then Eric pushed for the animation, and then I had a friend named Libby Cook who did the animation for us.
Amazing.
And she just learned like Flash animation. She's like self-taught and basically had been learning it over the past year. And I cannot believe how good. I mean, I can believe because she's super talented,
Yeah.
but just the amount of like time and energy and detail she put into it is really elevates that in the entire movie kind of.
Yeah. I do think it's a moment where I don't know, you hear about it all the time, but just like filmmaking is such a collaboration, and I consider like it's just a team, like this entire team, especially like us, like working from the start, like made this thing happen. And that was just a thing with everybody aboard. I mean, Libby was just another person that we had this goofy idea. We told it to her. She was like absolutely on board. And then she executed it to the point where it was just so much better than we could have imagined.
Yeah, she did it in a month, and she was like, "I'm sorry it took so long." We were like, "Are you crazy?"
I was blown away when I saw that. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I think we were just like, okay, like this is a whole nother level now.
Yeah.
And Doug and Phoebe, how about you guys? Have you done improv? Have you acted much together? And how much like direction did you take from Eric, or did you not listen to him at all?
That's true.
I mean, we really hadn't acted together at all. I kind of met Phoebe because I knew Eric and Nathaniel before, and then Phoebe had moved here like 3-6 months prior.
Mhm.
So I met you a few times, and we never really acted at all together. But obviously, we feed off each other's energy very well, and love hanging out with her. So I knew it was gonna be, a blast to make this movie with her.
Yeah, it
And-
was really, I went to acting school. No, but I did study acting, and then I had sort of not wanted to do it ever again. I moved here to Austin to be a butcher, and I was totally out of that, entire world. And then I was brought back into it because of these guys. And so I was very nervous going in and acting. I hadn't really exercised that muscle in a minute. And so I think that being with someone like Doug, because in real life, on and off screen, Doug is extremely non-judgmental and accepting. I would say that's a huge part of who you are. And having someone who's playing opposite you in so many scenes where you know that even if you mess up, they're not going to give you a hard time. They're not going to, that really enabled me to feel like I had the freedom to explore and not be self-conscious about, my choices here and there. But I also think that definitely having, as we've already talked about before, those improv rehearsals really helped. And I can say it certainly helped me sort of get back into the flow of what it's like to sort of really act based off of somebody else, in that way. Not just sort of how am I going to carry this performance, but how are we really working together to make this scene happen, So I think
And you kind of had some trusting moments as far as like the way you were dressed, your wardrobe, the bathtub scene, stuff. I mean, that's kind of opening up. So that was probably a little bit challenging. You know what I mean? It's probably challenging.
well, I did do wardrobe on this film, so I definitely chose what I wore and and Nathaniel and I did together for some parts as well. Like when when I really needed something really wacky to make a scene, then I would ask Nathaniel, because that's not my strongest suit, you know.
We
and
turned
so-
it into a game where we would go
Mhm.
finding like the outfit that Doug is wearing at the party, where he's wearing like a big ruffle shirt and a cowboy hat. Is basically we would go to vintage stores and be like, all right, what's the threshold for what Eric will say yes to,
Yeah,
and then
pretty
what's the next step? And then we were like, all right, Eric, this is we got it.
And like sometimes we'd find certain things like this must be in the movie, so we were going to like do
the
whatever
Fez,
we can.
like the
Yeah.
Oh
Fez,
yeah, the Fez is a good one. I think also like Catherine, she was a great person to do wardrobe with because she is great with so much of, you know, her physical comedy and also just the way she looks. She's so beautiful and she's able to really play on that and bring in so many, you know, different levels there. And I think she was a really, really fun person to wardrobe because we could put something just totally wacky on her, you know, that would bring out that side. So
Yeah, I just get a sense that the whole movie was a fun process for you guys, and and you all kind of wore multiple hats to make the project, you know, come to fruition, right?
yeah.
I mean, I think that kind of gets to what we all kind of wanted to achieve, and it was like this motto that we had from the start is we just wanted.
What's that? Remember the Alamo?
Yeah, remember
Yes.
the Alamo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So the second motto that we had, besides remember the Alamo, was we just wanted everybody to have fun, and so that goes back to the writers' room, to the improv rehearsals, to set, to editing, and even it's the first question whenever I, you know, talk to somebody who's seen the movie is just, did you have fun? So that's always what it comes back to for us.
And then how about, you know, as far as like production, how long did it take you guys? How many days? Let's say it's obviously, you know, lower budget, and then like where'd you get the locations, like and all the extras? Yeah, because you got some production value in there.
Thank you.
Thank you. We worked for, so Nathaniel and I were producers of, we produced this and we did a lot of the, you know, location finding and things like that. And I would say even more so than me, but the production schedule was crazy. We filmed everything in like a month.
How many days?
No, it was 13 or 14 principal photography shooting days with, I think
3 days of pickups.
in total somewhere between 3 to 5 days of pickups over the course of a year because of COVID.
Yeah, so this got hit right. I think we finished up our principal photography like middle of February, and then COVID hit, and that threw a big wrench in us completing the film because we had about 90% complete, just a few more shots to get, and then it became very difficult to do anything.
Yeah, like the boat scene was shot in August.
Yeah, we we did principal photography was January, February 2020, and we went into shooting thinking, well, we're going to have a few things that we're going to save for later, and that was stuff like Doug and Zach in the catsuit downtown, getting hit with the car, the boat scene and the creek scene, as well as a few pickups here and there. And so we were able to get a couple of those things right before things shut down. But the boat, that was the big thing that we were just like, how are we going to do this with COVID going?
And then one day Doug was like, I found this guy who's gonna let us use his sailboat for free.
I called him
like,
up.
great.
I really just called him and said, hey, we're trying to do, you know, movie low budget, and it's Captain Tim Best with the Sail Austin, and it's the biggest sailboat in Austin. He said, yeah, come on down anytime. And he was the coolest guy ever. I was
He looks like a sailboat captain.
Yeah.
How was shooting in Austin? I mean, you guys lived there. I haven't been there in many years, but how's Austin doing? How was it to make the movie in Austin, and what's Austin like at the moment with, you know, the pandemic or coming out of the pandemic?
Man, I mean, I'll just say one quick thing, which is a lot of the shooting was done like at my house. And I would say that was very crazy. I had one of these guys like stay at my house every night with me because I had so much fancy equipment and I wasn't living in such a great neighborhood. And we were trying to like shoot everything in the house, so we had to keep it clean and we couldn't move everything because it was like a set. But then also I was living there. And so like there are a few scenes where right behind the door is just like my bedroom where our entire crew is like hiding for the scene. And that was really intense. And that was sort of, I don't know, I think the most intense part, but Austin, you guys certainly can speak more as shooting in Austin.
Well, I think it's because we've all worked on multiple productions in Austin, And the thing that's interesting is that Austin, as everyone knows, is changing a lot. The cost of living is going up. More tech companies, more and more are moving here. But as far as filmmaking goes, is that it is still a really easy city to kind of beg, borrow, and steal in, because everyone wants to help. And if people see you making a movie on the side of the road, like the people here know enough about filmmaking that they're not going to bother you. But at the same time, it's not like LA where everyone's so savvy that they're going to demand that you have a permit and everything and get money out of you. And
I could even say that about San Francisco. It's nice to hear that that's the way San Francisco used to be, you know, dozen more years
I
ago.
mean, local restaurants donated food for us for crafty, and
Nice.
you know, the place that we did that Nathaniel likes to talk about, but the mansion that we shot in, we did like an overnight. It's like the super fancy mansion that rents out for thousands of dollars a night, and they cut us a crazy deal that we basically could have it for 24 hours and do whatever we want, you know.
they charge for events because it's a mansion called Casa Cartel, and it was in the 70s owned by some cartel boss, and like the guy who owns it now like basically uses it for events. And he showed us like, okay, so this is the concrete sealed door to his bunker. Like, check this out. Like, look at this. This is a secret compartment, and there's a safe underground. Like,
This is smuggled thing.
yeah, it was a crazy location, but they rent. It's like $300 an hour for events, and they were like, they gave us this insane deal to shoot because they were so excited about us making a movie. Like one music video that they got there before. And that is, I feel like, very unique to Austin, is that even though it attracts a lot of tech people and stuff, is that the reputation of the city is still enough to get people excited to be a part of the artistic side of it. People will make sacrifices to kind of see something come to life, like a film.
Yeah, I feel like for all of us, this was just so much of like a culmination of kind of everything that we had done leading up to it and all the connections that we had built. I mean, for me, I've been in Austin since 2006, having gone to University of Texas, and like just connections I had made from the start, connections through Fallout Theater, through where I work, Austin Movie Gear, which is where we are right now. It's how I met our director of photography, Aaron Arispe. So it's just like, I think for all of us, we kind of like took a step back and we were just like, okay, we have very little money. How can we do this with the resources that we do have? And it just kind of ended up being a little bit of everything from all of these different piles of our lives.
That's cool. Yeah, well, hopefully Austin stays cool too. You know, the whole world's changing, and it's very similar to San Francisco. Well, that's great. We have time for one more quick question. You guys have been wonderful. What's up for you next? We can go down the table. I'll start with you, Nathaniel. You're on my left. What do you have going next? What's up?
So I have a film. The film I mentioned earlier that Doug is in, Ultimate World, is actually premiering at a festival in Austin the 2 days after Y'all's Festival ends, which is very exciting. And then later this year, with that same writing and directing partner, his name's Spencer Lucas, we just finished the first draft of a script called Ceremony. That's about 5 friends who hold a seance on the anniversary of another friend's death, but nothing supernatural happens. It's more like a grounded kind of people coming back together after being apart for many years. And we're writing, Phoebe is going to star in that, and we're hoping to shoot that in August.
Very cool.
Phoebe,
how about
knows
you?
And I actually, after this film, my life started a different path. I'm opening a restaurant next month. So I have a lot going on. And I'm so excited.
Watch out. I have a feeling that's going to be a location for
I was just about to say, I mean, I'm so excited to be back in and being able to do this project with Nathaniel, but really since the film, I haven't been doing much in the community at all. So I'm hoping that with this
Except
film,
feeding us.
except feeding them, yes.
Yeah, well, hey, plug your. What's the name of the restaurant? Plug the restaurant.
Casper Fermentables, and we make
Wait, say again.
Casper, like the ghost, Fermentables. My partner is Korean, and we're both Jewish, and so this is a company based. We make like sourdough bagels and breads and challah and things like that. We just won Best Bagels, Best Focaccia in Austin.
Cool.
But we also are pretty big for our kombucha and our kimchi, sauerkraut, fermentables. You know, if you can, we make it. That's my new slogan. But I mean, I do miss this community a lot, and I am so excited about the restaurant, but also so excited to be
Cool.
getting back.
Well, we'll check it out when we're in Austin.
Yeah, yeah.
luck to you.
Our starter came from, to our team in San Francisco. So
Oh, fantastic.
yeah.
Doug, how about you? What's up?
Well, going forward, I mean, I love sketch comedy, sketch off the ground this year, and just keep trying to hang out with those and TV and
Uh-huh.
and do some more movies and keep doing that. So comedy focused and writing.
Great.
Yeah. and- okay.
Eric, you're next.
Yeah, and for me, I think right now the focus is just kind of seeing Lucky Doug through and see where it goes. Starting to look at some other projects. There's some scripts that kind of polishing up and talking to some folks about. If anyone wants my help on ceremony,
I should send you the script.
what now?
I should send you.
You should probably send me the script. But I did produce a short film by Roy Lazowitz that Nathaniel co-starred in with Catherine Hutchins, called Tomato Face. And
Are you
yeah.
sticking with that title?
Who knows?
You're sticking with that title? Oh wow.
But at any rate, we're just continuing to make things, just continuing to be part of the Austin film community.
Very cool.
Really what it's about.
Very cool. Well, congratulations, guys. Thanks for being here.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you so
Alright,
much.
thank you.
Yeah, congrats on Lucky Doug and good luck in your future endeavors. I hope to meet you in person someday. If you're ever in San Francisco, look me up. And I'll do the same in Austin, but that's all the time we have. So good luck to you. And we'll see your movie Lucky Doug up at the Roxy Theater or online. And thanks everyone for watching. Check out more indie films at sfindie.com. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Oh.